Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we're checking out from Impact Soundworks, this is Tape Sculptor. Impact Soundworks reached out to me recently to find out if I would be interested in checking out today's subject, Tape Sculptor. It's their newest plugin, and they reached out because they had seen that in the past I had talked about different kinds of saturation and different things you could do with tape in your DAW, so digital tape, but not really. You guys understand what I'm saying. The analog ways turned digital, but bringing some of that character back to our digital age and creating some of those harmonics and the other things that tape can do. Tape Sculptor can do a lot of these things, but it also adds some extra functionality going into tape. So if you can think of something that tape can do to your signal, Tape Sculptor can probably do it. So let's dive into the DAW. Quick disclaimer, they sent this over for a review, so you can consider this a sponsored video, but all of the opinions following this are my own. Okay, so here it is. This is Tape Sculptor from Impact Soundworks, and this is the default configuration. As we always do in our plugin videos, you can use the chapters down below if you're looking to skip ahead and get to the audio examples. Right now, we're going to go into some of the controls without the deep dive that we kind of do sometimes here, because there's a lot going on. So let's get into those controls. Now, the way to look at this is a little back and forth, but not really. So your input and output meter, as well as the gain of how much you can push into or reduce the output, are also on the right side of the plugin. It's this output section. So you can actually adjust the overall mix of all of the effects you have going on within the plugin right here. So you can do some parallel processing for everything on the output section. Input meter on the left with the input slider next to that. It's the little circle. Double click back to 0. Output on the right-hand side, same thing with that one. Then underneath you have balance, where you can shift the balance of your song in whichever way you need to. Maybe you got a mastering thing and for some reason everything is a little right heavy. Well, you can use balance and you can tilt it just a little bit back to the left-hand side if you needed to. Then underneath that, you have a toggle switch where the entire plugin can be in left-right mode or mid-side mode, and it auto does the conversion and back to left-right stereo for us. And then underneath that, you have the makeup slider, and this is a global makeup slider. If you lose a little bit of signal in one of the modules, you can make some of that back up with the global makeup. And you may have also noticed I currently have tooltips on. This is something that's baked into the plugin, and it's really awesome. Anything you hover over will give you a little bit more information about what you're affecting and what you're adjusting. Now, let's get started with dropping pens. We did that, but we'll actually get started in the top left part. We'll start with filters, and to turn any section on, you just hit the top left corner. There's a little button. It engages it. Everything lights up, and you have that module activated. Filters in the top left. So your low pass filter and your high pass filter, but I said those backwards. High pass filter, because that's your low cut, and low pass filter, high cut. Those are in here. Then you have your makeup gain. So what would happen with tape, where you kind of lose some of the top end and some of the bottom end, you can do that with these controls here. But kind of what the engineers who used to work with tape all the time would do, and you may know this, is the pull tech trick. You can push some stuff kind of before you hit the tape, so when it hits the tape and it kind of loses some of those frequencies, you're not losing as much because you're emphasizing into it. So that's what makeup here can do, is it can get the stuff that is usually cut off by tape and kind of bring it back. Then underneath that, you have 4-pole, and this is just the slope of the filters. So it says 4-pole. This will change with all of your selections, 6 dB per octave, 12 dB. It's how harsh these filters are. So you can go all the way up to 96 dB and get something crazy like this, or all the way down to a super gentle 6 dB and just very gently roll everything off. To the right of that is the oomph, or the emphasis section. If we hover over, it says the emphasis controls. And this is just a little bit of adjustments into the detector circuit, and this is what I understand it to be. So if I'm wrong, apologies. But the emphasis goes into our next section, the compressor. So you can push a little bit of extra bass frequencies to have the compressor clamp down a little harder. Or maybe there's too much. You can kind of back it off and not have the compressor just completely going crazy with all this low end information. Just kind of roll that back off, and then the compressor will not trigger as much. And then the frequency is the crossover between these two emphasis, the bass and the treble. Next to that, we have the compressor. This is a compressor. You've seen it. But the way this one works is the threshold is actually this slider from the top here. You actually can do some compression parallel processing right in here. So you can adjust this slider here for your wet dry blend. Obviously 100% all compressor, 0% all source signal, anywhere in between, a blend of the two. Adjust your ratio, your attack time, your release time, and the knee or the characteristic of the compressor, how easy or hard it goes into that compression and out of it as well. Then after the compressor, we have saturation, drive, bias, and saturation. When we also have built-in oversampling, this for everything. This is the first time I clicked on the oversampling. You can see it's pretty crazy. So there's lots of options inside oversampling, and then mode is the actual saturation style. There's different components from different tape machines. You can adjust this and get different kinds of saturation and blend it in however you see fit. Then we have the kind of the tape effect section on bottom. Let's go all the way to the left to degrade, and it's currently off, but this is where you would hear and add in some of the tape hiss that we're used to hearing, like this. And then for the controls for degrade, you have envelope, amount, variance, depth, and soft. After degrade is chew, and this is chewing up the tape. And we'll get into the audio examples in a bit. Depth is how much it's chopping into the audio, and frequency is how frequent it is happening. After chew, we have loss, and this is on in the default configuration. You can turn this off. Now, loss is really interesting because loss is really based on analog tape machines, and not only the tape, but the tape heads, the angle of those tape heads, the distance of the tape to the tape heads, because they didn't always touch exactly. Sometimes maybe something was a little off and it kind of peeled back a little. Next to loss is flutter. Two controls here, rate and depth. How fast, how much. Easy. After that is wow. This is something we see on other tape plugins as well. It's the warping, the movement of the tape going around. Maybe one of the flanges on the tape got bent and it's the bottom one. So it's like just kind of dragging a little and it's making the tape kind of slow down and speed up. You'll hear, you've heard this before. Maybe you didn't know it was called wow. And then of course, after that is tape delay. You can have some delay because tape heads or tape machines had multiple heads, or maybe a space echo. If you've ever heard of that before. Tape delay. Feedback, we know what that is with delays. It's how much of the original signal is going back into the delay. And then the mix, obviously we've seen before, wet to dry, how much of each. And then for this bottom section here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, these are actually 4 different delay timings. So you can have 4 different steps in the tape delay that you have going on. But there's other controls that you can do here as well. So this is the timing, but if you come to the bottom, you can change the pan. Maybe I want 3 and 4 to be stereo, and I want 1 and 2 to be really wide. And then I really want to adjust my levels where I only have 1 and 2 maybe, and then just a touch of 3 and 4. This is how we mix or blend in how much of this additional tape delay we have going on. All right, last few controls. Top left, bypass button. There's one built into the Studio One or your DAW as it is, but it's handy to have it in here because maybe you want to automate it through here. Totally cool. Preset browser, tons of presets in here for different buses, crazy kinds of sounds, lo-fi, mastering situations, just saturation, spatial and modulation. There's a ton of presets in here because if you can do it on tape, Tape Sculptor most likely can do it. Then all the way to the right, you have an A section and a B section. Maybe you're comparing some things. You want to go back and forth real quick. Built into the plugin, and then the settings and menu are over here. All right, so that's all of the controls. Now let's go into how does this thing sound. We're reusing the song that I wrote a couple weeks ago. This is the like 50s, 60s style song, and I thought it would be a good fit for something tapey. So let's start off by just bypassing the plugin. I'll give you guys a little bit, probably like 4 bars or something, and then we'll go from there and we'll just start going through presets and dialing some stuff in. So here's our audio examples. I'm not going to give you a ton. If you've watched my videos before or recently, we've used this song a couple times. It's simple, it's basic, but it also kind of lives in the era of tape, so I thought it'd be a great fit for Tape Sculptor. Let's take it out of bypass and immediately, well, for one, I know it's way too quiet, so I'm going to turn it up, but I'm going to adjust it for you guys that you don't have to adjust anything. I'm just adjusting it on my end so that the plugin works a bit better. All right, close enough. Well, I just kind of juiced the input and brought the output down. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do that. I'm doing it for me. This is what I need to do in this session. Do what you need to do in yours. Let's start off with some of the classic tape sounds. We'll take our low pass and our high pass. I keep saying them backwards. It says it right here. And we'll go with 12. And we'll just kind of like really roughly dial this in. I want the low ends to barely even be there. So I'm actually going to go up to about 80. The top end can kind of come down a little, maybe 15. That's totally cool. We're definitely going to do a little bit of compression. I want saturation to happen. And you know what? We're going to mess around with these things on bottom, but I'm going to turn all of these off first, and we'll add the effects in later. So now let's just get started. We'll turn saturation off. Let's work with our filters, compressor, and then saturation, and then we'll come back, and then we'll go into our effects. So here is just tape and compression and kind of dials. Okay, so we very quickly went in, added some saturation, some compression. We didn't do any emphasis. Totally fine. You could do that on yours if you need to. And just a little bit of rolling off the top and bottom. When I was playing with the mix control before, it was kind of quickly giving you an A and a B. Where did we start? Where are we now? And you could see I actually kind of backed it off because with the compression and the ridiculous settings that you probably shouldn't do for a song like this, and I don't recommend them, I went too crazy and it got too kind of modern sounding. So I just kind of backed everything off. The blend on the compressor is way off and the overall everything is just kind of backed off a little bit. Now let's get into the effects. So I'm just going to put the mix back up to 100 so you guys can really hear it. And then we're just going to kind of go through everything. And for these, I am going to go extreme so you can really hear what the different sections are doing. I think with delay, you kind of understand, but I'll make sure you guys can hear it. But we're going to go through the different effect sections on bottom so you can hear what each section does. And you know what we'll even do? We'll turn everything else off. We'll just do the effect section on bottom. Here we go. to jump in here real quick because if you've never worked with tape before, as we're adjusting the inches per second, maybe you don't know what to listen for. Listen to the top end, especially the hi-hats and the sizzle of them as we reduce our inches per second. And I'm going to bring this all the way up to 50, which is not what I remember to be a standard speed for tape. It doesn't matter. But as we roll this down, listen to the top end. The sizzle of the tape is going to get less and less defined. Take a listen to the top end as we adjust speed. All right, we've gone through all of the controls, gone extreme with the effects section on bottom. Now let's just bang through a couple presets in the mastering section real quick because we are doing this on just our mix bus. Totally fine. I'm just going to use the left and right up top. Starting in mastering, I'm going to skip EDM warmer because clearly that won't work for this, but I think full body might be nice. And we'll just listen and we'll click through. Now I went through a few different presets and I didn't adjust anything. I just went over to the bypass button and turned it off and on so you guys would have a sense of where we started and what the presets are doing. Now, mind you, this is a writing session. It's not mixed. It's not even loud enough going into a mastering kind of tape mix bus sort of situation. But you can adjust those things later on. But really, there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of different things you can do within Tape Sculptor, but you don't have to. You can engage or disengage any of the different modules to get the sound you're going for. And after this video, you understand what all of the different controls are doing. So now you are more informed or more well-informed going into making those decisions of, hey, maybe I need a tape delay sound, and Tape Sculptor's perfect because I can do some compression into that and some saturation into it as well, and add the flutter and wow and blah, 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 blah. So you can have lots of fun. If you want to pick up your own copy of Impact Soundworks, use the link down in the description. A little bit will come back to help the channel, so please help out. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. Want to talk more tape plugins or plugins in general? Jump into the Discord. There's a link down below. I'd love to work with you on your project, so let's get that started. Head over to timflansbaum.com and reach out to me there or on Discord. And if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.